Shallow. Hey. Come here. Leave him alone. Say hi. You can say hi. Hey guys, we are here in my garage. I have wiring harness out of the Tahoe is all laid out kind of the way it was on top of the motor. So we're going to be going through it, eliminating stuff that we don't need, and there's quite a bit of wire that will get removed. I marked some of it when I took it off just to keep in mind what it went to. And most of them, the plugs only go to one place. If you're doing a drive-by wire system, you will have to keep this that's off the firewall, controls your foot pedal that actually plugs into the bottom. So if you go out to get a wire harness, you better make sure you grab that. What I'm going to be doing tonight, I'm going to undo these plugs off of the PCM, and we're going to do a pinout procedure, which is remove the pins off the plug all the way through the harness to the end of what we're removing. We will see what we're left with. I know this big battery wire here is getting taken out. We don't need it because we're running from the back of the vehicle with the battery up to the starter. And then we'll have the ignition wire come up to it. That's the only thing we need off of this harness to do. And the computer will control that part of it. This is the fuse block, which is the only real thing that you need if you're doing a standalone system, is this connector right here that's in the middle, which this is an 03, and I think 03 to 07 are all the same fuse block. It's just the middle one. Pull it loose. That has your injectors and your coils, that wires that power up to those, and the PCM triggers them off through this because you have your fuses on the other side. That's what they normally would go through. So we're going to actually build a fuse block for this that will control the whole thing. And let me get to basically stripping this wire, well, not stripping the wire, but pulling the sheath coverings off, kind of clean it up, and I'm going to try to lay it out a different way how I want it to go onto the motor. Okay, here is where we're at. I started doing this, the connector with the blue caps. I pulled them off. You have to use have to be able to remove it, and that way you can remove these pins that are in here, and which I've removed all of these wires. We're going to chase those back down through the harness, and I've removed what we could from the harness that was off these little connectors. So like you had that one there, we cut it. Some of these wires get pulled out of there, and a couple others got cut off of this that come up. These are going to be going to the fuse block or to your OBD2 port. Like this one, this green one is going to be a data wire. Go to OBD2. Basically, I am following this paper that we found, well, online, then I printed it out. This is from lt1swap.com, which is a very good source for information. And he actually has a YouTube channel that you can follow. And he's got about 3 parts, part 1, 2, and 3. And this is all in part 1. After you strip it, you get your stuff out here. I'm just kind of doing this video so people can get the information and see that this is doable off of that watching his. So I'm just going to cut this down into a short video for y'all, the basics, any little tips or secrets that I can let y'all know, and you can see the end result and that it'll actually work. Got everything stripped off and marked and labeled everything. All these pink wires were going to this. You will need a ohm meter with a continuity test to do a process of elimination on which one goes to what sensor and label them. So like this one, well, that one was, those actually might get removed, but this one is power to the fuel injectors. All of those right there. That one is hot power to mass airflow sensor. That's a ground to my PCM. Hot power to transmission. Coils right there. Hot power to the O2 sensors. I mean, that's it. And the others got removed that we're going to plugs that we're getting rid of. Right now we still have the Y here, but laid on top of the intake. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to end up pulling these wires up here, and this main, I want the main trunk of the harness to go along the back side of the motor instead of up over the intake. So these injectors used to be like right here on the harness. Well, to move it back, I'm going to have to lay them back like this so that we can pull this harness back from the edge. So here we go. Can't tell without it on the motor, but I've started doing my fuse block wires, which are going this way. I ran them out this way, got plenty of wire. These are the other wires that are going to be going to the fuse block. These are going to be some power wires coming out to run over back through the firewall for the OBD2 and check engine light. Now the way I laid this out, this will be the center of the motor, this will be the firewall, and these are going to run up between the fuel injectors, and same with this side, which I ran the mass airflow sensor up through this one instead of having the starter wire going all the way down around the front of the motor. We ran it back through here. Now I had to double up wire to shorten this, and this will be tucked in behind the motor, down low just above the transmission, and then I'll run my transmission lines back down the side, which y'all will get to see. I mean, I'm gonna have to shorten these, I know, but I'm wanting to wait until they are on the engine to cut and readjust some of that. Same with some of this. So I'm going to get back to finishing up the fuse block and finishing the rest of this harness and let y'all see what I have. Alright, I'm up here at the shop right now. I figure I would show you all how I got this laid out, and the harness itself is finished. This is my PCM connection, which actually it runs all the way up through here. This branch right here will be tucked in underneath the rail over here and plugged in. It goes to the alternator, and then the water temp sensor is right down there, so it'll run down through there. This will actually be tucked down in here along the firewall, and all the sensors that go in the middle right down here. And I got the same thing over here. These are going to get readjusted after it's installed, but this one will tuck alongside underneath the injector rail and plug in. This one goes down the back side of the transmission to run the transmission. And we got our fuse block already complete, which is probably going to be mounted right here on the firewall. Kind of hard to see all this right now. I will do another video once it's all installed. And we have our throttle. The TAC module controls the electronic throttle, which is probably going to be mounted to the side of this fender right here, or kind of back in here. So all this will be up against the firewall. It'll run down underneath my brake booster. Trying to hide most of it that I can. And I have the PCM right now is sent off to a guy that is putting a Corvette program into it, so it will also have performance mode on the what would have been the tow haul switch. So anyway guys, I think for this video it's probably been about a week just kind of piecing all this stuff together, getting everything situated the way I want it. And I appreciate y'all if you like and subscribe, share, and definitely you can go to lt1swap.com and get a lot of information on there on how to do this harness. Kind of variate from keeping the original harness. It used to go up and over this, and you can hide it all back here. You just kind of have to start separating stuff and move it where you want it. Don't be afraid to separate the harness and adjust things. The only issue is when you do the driver's side injector rails, you need to run them up and then double it back. So as the truck's laid out, make sure you number your injectors so you know which one will be going to what injector, so you don't get it on there backwards, because by doing this you can get it on backwards. Alright.
We're going to right hand. Okay. I'm gonna see if we can do a shove it.
Okay.
Probably not, but won't hurt to try. Oh yeah, no.
Almost.
You do that. Ooh, that is so good. Dad, you were in my way. I could have gotten past there, but you know, I didn't.